Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you. This is Anthony from Get Online Lab with Get Moving on Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and we've got another fabulous week ahead with fabulous opportunities. So let's make the most of it by getting started in top gear on Monday. Now, if you saw some of the promotional material, what I'm going to be focusing on today is to share with you a couple of strategies that I found particularly helpful for planning and structuring my course content. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, like just the process of getting started itself can seem a little bit overwhelming and daunting. And what I've learnt to rely on is to use either of these structured approaches to help organise my thinking. And basically, it enables me to lay out the program that I'm going to teach. So once I have that pathway, all of the rest of it kind of falls into place. So what I'm going to do today is to step you through these. You may have heard one of these before, the 10 by 10, but I'm going to share this with you, and I'll just get the slides up. So as you can see, I'm talking about strategies for creating your online course content. The two strategies that you can use to help to create and to structure your content are the 10 by 10 template and a template that you can use if there's going to be a heavy reliance on your video content. So why are these strategies likely to be useful to you as they are to me? You want to ensure that your coaching helps your clients achieve the results that you're promising. Your credibility relies on this. Your ability to get and keep clients relies on your ability to help them achieve the results that you're promising. So it's essential that you plan your teaching so that your clients, in fact, do learn exactly what it is that you teach. Now, using either of these strategy templates is going to help you to plan and deliver your teaching in such a way that your clients will actually learn. And also, when your clients get exposed to your teaching, your well-planned and well-structured content is obviously going to enhance your credibility and authority. I don't know if it's ever happened to you where you've done either a live event or even an online event where the presenter is all over the place. There doesn't seem to be any sort of logic or flow. Parts of the presentation don't seem to connect. You've got no idea really where this is leading and what it has to do with you. So these templates are designed so that immediately your client, your learner, knows exactly where they are in the process, what's in it for them, and the pathway that they're going to follow, because you're sharing that with them. So how's this going to improve your life and your business when you have, as I've said, when you have a process to follow for content creation? Your life is going to be so much simpler. So these content creation templates are going to help you to organize your thinking. First of all, I find like sometimes just that getting started is the hardest thing. So turning to the template gives you a process and a model to follow, helps you to organize your thinking. You then can begin to structure your content so that you do, in fact, take a step-by-step approach to your content creation and the way that you actually deliver your content. And by breaking your teaching down into chunks that can be easily absorbed by your clients, this is a really big factor. And I've talked about this in other presentations where we look at the actual whole design process of your online program. That the chunks need to be sequential, they need to flow, and they need to be absorbed. So there's a few considerations which we won't go into today, which will help you to do that. But I find, and you'll find, I'm sure, that using those templates over time, you'll find it a breeze to get into content creation mode. So let's first of all look at the 10 by 10 template. As I said, I've mentioned it before. And if you're a member of the Get Online Lab tribe, if you take a look in the files section, there's a document of a couple of pages that you can actually download, which explains this process in more detail than perhaps I'll go into today. but it outlines the process. There's also some examples there, and you'll clearly see that this is a very useful tool indeed. So the way it works, basically, imagine, for example, you've probably got an overall assessment of how much teaching and how many lessons. So imagine you're going to put together an online course which you think maybe is going to have 10 lessons, or it might be 6 or 8, or it might even be more than 10. But the deal here is that these will be the number of lessons, in your opinion, that someone needs to learn to get the results that you're promising people they're going to get. And look, it doesn't have to be 10 lessons. This is just for example. If it only takes 6, it takes 6, but you can still use this template. So it would be a 6 by 10 template, which will make sense as we go on with it. So the way to do this, you determine what people need to do and to learn sequentially. That is the steps that people need to take to get the results that you promise they'll achieve in your coaching course or your membership program. Make a list of those steps. So whether you do this using a Word document or whether this is a pen and paper exercise initially, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that you do it. But you make a list of those key steps because they, in fact, will be the individual lessons that you're going to teach, whether it be 6, 8, 10, or whatever the case might be. So an example is, let's say your coaching niche is gardening. So your 10 topics or lessons or steps that people need to learn, you'll see listed there. So you begin with something very basic and introductory, the basic concepts of gardening. And I don't know, I'm not necessarily a gardener, but people might want to start growing their own vegetables, then progress to fruit. Again, your understanding of the audience will determine which sequence. But you can see here, we've got basically 10 lessons here that you're going to teach. So the way it works is you have the overall coaching program or pathway that's designed. The next thing is that for each step or lesson that you've now listed, you need to identify the subtopics that are going to be taught for each step. So this is where part 2 of the 10 by 10 comes in. So for example, with lesson 1, you need to be very conscious of what's going to be the outcome for your learner in lesson 1. So this is all very much about learner or client outcomes. So for the whole course, there'll be a particular outcome. As a result of doing all those steps, they'll be able to do X or Y. If they do lesson 1, there'll be a particular outcome for that. So be focused on what is that outcome, and then make a list of 10 things that you're going to teach people in that lesson so that they achieve that result for lesson 1. Now, one way to also think about this, and again, without sort of getting too far away from the model, do you have to list 10 things that you're actually going to teach? Well, not necessarily, but a useful model for me is, let's say you're going to teach for an hour. If you then had a list of the 10 things that you're going to teach in that hour, by breaking that down, it almost then plans your lesson for you, so that each of those 10 things are about 6 minutes each. And it's probably not going to be exactly that. You'll typically have an introduction, which might be a minute or 2, and then the remaining time will be divided up with the other, let's say 8 lessons, and then your final little chunk will be some sort of summary or review. So step 1, lesson 1 would be, all right, what are the key things that you're going to teach? And for example's sake, you could say, well, my template is going to be, I'm going to aim to teach, or my content can be broken down into these 10 steps. So using the gardening one, we've said your topic 1 would be, let's introduce my clients to some basic concepts. So the subtopics, which are part of those basics, would be, let's talk a little bit about soil, choosing what to grow, what are the sorts of considerations that you'll need to consider there, what months to plant, how and what to tend in terms of your plantings, when do you harvest your crop, how do you go about planting things, how do you go about weeding. Again, I'm no gardener, and the sequence of those topics. If you're an avid gardener, you might say, "Oh, Anthony, you've got things all mixed up there. I wouldn't teach them in that order." Doesn't matter. That's your client, and that's how you teach. So, for example's sake, this would be the order of the subtopics that I would teach in, let's say, an hour that I had with my audience. So that's the 10 by 10 template. And really the idea here is that you do your planning first, and then you actually get into the content creation. It takes the guesswork out of that, and you've always got that plan in front of you so that you can see the pathway that you're following. And of course, you can change things along the way. There's no issue with doing that. But that initial planning, using that template, I think is going to be very helpful. But if we now go on and have a look at, well, let's say in your online coaching program that there's going to be considerable video content. So I want to talk about a model here which I've also found really useful when the focus of my teaching and my coaching is going to be video based. So for each module or unit of learning, so you could use the 10 by 10 template initially to develop a list of your 6, 8 or 10 major modules or lessons. And then for each of those modules or units, you'll think about putting your video content together. So there would be perhaps an introduction to the first module, or if you're going into module 2, there might be a review of what you've learnt in module 1. Now let's turn to video 2 content. So you begin with an introduction or a review, and then you use those questions there. Why is this important to you? What am I going to teach? And this is how we do it, which is where you actually create your video with the majority of your teaching content. So those first 3, the introduction, the why, and the what is introductory stuff. It might be the first 2, 3, 4 minutes of your video content, and they could be separate videos. And the idea of doing separate videos basically is that if you make a mistake, let's say at step 4, like you decided to do a video which includes introduction, the why, and the what, which might be a 4 or 5 minute video. If you muck it up, and you don't want to go to the trouble of editing, the easier way to do it perhaps is do a video purely focusing on the introduction or the review component, then do a separate video for the why, a separate video for the what, a separate video for your how, which could also be broken down into smaller chunks, and then a preview of what's coming next. So the model would look something like this. So we've got module 1, where you do an introductory video of your whole course or program. Now, 90 to 120 seconds. It may take a little longer than that. I tend to take a little bit longer than that when I'm introducing somebody to a course. So the idea really with that introduction is that you orient your client to what's going to happen. You give them an overview of the lessons, the pathway that they're actually going to follow. And you help them manage expectations about outcomes. You'll be talking about what it takes to actually achieve the result, the kinds of people who are going to be successful with your program, and so on. So you really set the whole thing up. You might want to be talking about mindset and the way that people approach your teaching and those sorts of things. So that would be the introductory video. I'm saying 90 to 120 seconds. It might be 4 or 5 minutes. Again, you know your content. So we're just using this as a model for illustration purposes. Then you would shoot a second video, which is an introductory video of module 1, where you say, all right, the main aim of this first module is X or Y, and at the end of this module, you should be able to know or do X or Y. End that video and then shoot another one. Explain to your audience why this matters. And this is really important in adult learning and education, is that people kind of need a reason, not kind of, they do need a reason to tune in. They need to have an answer to that question, what's in it for me? It's a great way to attract people's attention, to focus their attention. So a short video explaining why this matters, why you're actually teaching this particular module, then provide an overview of exactly what it is that you're going to teach in the module, and end that video. and then commence your major teaching video, which can last well, again, it's your content. It could be 10, 15, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. These days, I think people, obviously with video, people can rewind, but what I've begun to do increasingly is if I think a particular module involves 60 minutes of teaching, I might break that down into 4 15-minute videos. I mean, you can shoot it all in one bit, and you can obviously edit it into 15-minute chunks or whatever's suitable. Anyway, that's the how component. This is where you actually teach. And then you do a final video. So you review module 1. Let's have a look at what it is that we've actually learnt in this lesson. And now let me prepare you for what's coming next. In our next lesson, we're going to do X and Y. We'll see you in the next video. So that's the introductory model for videos. Then module 2, you'd then simply do an introduction video for that module, again, 30 to 90 seconds. Explain to your audience in the next video why this actually matters to them, why you're teaching it. Then go into a third video, short video, what I'm going to teach you today is, and then you get into the guts of your content. All right, let's get into it. And then to finish that up, to put a bow on it, I suppose is a term that you could use, you would review the key points, summarize the key points from the lesson, and then provide a preview of what is in the next module. And if we jump ahead to the final module, so your course, your video course could have 6, 8 or 10 modules, but the final module, we've got a bit of a typo there, but you're going to review the previous module. So the second last module, why this matters, same thing. What I'm going to teach, again, 30 to 90 seconds. This is what I'm going to teach you. And then for the final model, you do a much more in-depth review. So congratulations on completing the program. This is what we've done. These are the steps that we've looked at. This is why we've taught this. This is what's going to make a difference in your life. This is what we've actually taught. And these are the steps that you're now familiar with that we've followed. And here are a few closing thoughts. So again, these modules that you can see really are simply a way to help you to plan and create, to design your content. And I think there are lots of advantages. So what I've done today in this rather sort of short Get Moving Monday session is to look at the 2 strategies that I think will assist you to plan, design and create your content. The benefit of this to you is this helps you to organize your thoughts, and it will enable you to focus on the process that you're going to follow to teach, enables you to focus on the process that you want your clients to follow. And the benefit then, when you present well-organized and sequenced content, your credibility as a coach is actually enhanced. Have you ever been on a course or a program where, as I said earlier, the presenter is all over the shop, the content doesn't hang together, you can't see where this is leading? Using these templates will help you avoid all of that. And the benefit, of course, to your learner in planning and creating and teaching this way is that they are much, much more likely to achieve the results that you've promised, which again, in turn, enhances your credibility. But a big factor also is that when clients achieve success in one part of your coaching or your teaching, they're more likely then, as you to continue to roll out offers, to say, okay, that was a really valuable thing. I'm interested in taking the next steps. So these templates, I think, when you begin to use them, are very, very valuable tools. So what I'd suggest today as an activity, if you've never used either of those templates and you're in the process of doing some course creation, pick one or use both if you're using video, and begin to trial it. Map out your next core offering using those 2 tools. And finally, I guess to conclude, just a reminder about what Get Moving on Mondays is about. The whole purpose in me doing this is to help you orient your week, get oriented around your week to be focused on producing results, so that by the time that we get to High Five Saturday, you've got something to celebrate, that you've actually taken positive and constructive steps starting today on Monday to move your business forward. You know, I know what it's like to be stuck and to be running around in circles and wondering what to do next. I think if you begin the week with an intention to do something and then take the action, it makes a massive difference to your confidence and to your energy. There's nothing like the energy that comes from the feeling of achievement that you actually have moving forward. So just a reminder, then each Monday I'm doing live teaching like this on a separate topic. If you're already not a member of the tribe, the Get Online Lab tribe, which is the tribe for online coaches, we'd love to have you as a member. And you can see below the link to join us. Simply type in Facebook/groups Get Online Lab, and I would love to welcome you into the tribe. Okay, so let me stop the share, and I'm back here live, hopefully. So that's my take for Get Moving on Mondays. I hope that's been a benefit to you. Please, in the comments, I'd love to get some feedback on this. What's been your biggest takeaway from today's session? I'd also love some feedback on what other topics you'd like to see me present on, which will help you move your business forward. So that's it for Monday. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you from time to time in the tribe. And by the way, if you've enrolled for my mini course, which is about developing a profitable idea for an online coaching program, a group online coaching program, that begins today at 2 p.m. And if you're not enrolled for that, I'll put there's actually, if you're in the group, you'll actually see links to the mini course. We've got a number of people already enrolled, and I'd love to have you as well if you're not in it. All right, this is Anthony saying thanks for tuning in, and we'll say bye for now. Thank you.